And welcome back to another episode of Behind the Glass. I'm getting a little bit better with that. What do you think, Chris?
It felt pretty nice.
Okay.
I mean, it's feeling a bit late night, feeling
Yeah.
a little bit feeling a little bit
After
vibesy.
midnight is the quiet storm.
I was going to say, you got the voice for it.
It's the quiet storm.
That was great.
Hotlines are now open. Call and make your requests. Shoot your shot. So we are back for another great episode of Behind the Glass, our podcast, and we are joined by our April featured guest. So this is kind of our new format of after the reception, and I think unique to this month is after two receptions for the space. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. But this was a really cool show. Our second in the new space,
second at Farmhouse.
Yeah, second official. So a lot of really good energy, great space at Farmhouse, great partners. I think folks have really enjoyed the bar and also having a kitchen available to them as well. And it's just a kind of a central space to either start or have it in the middle of your first Friday night or end your first Friday there. So it's a great space.
And just so aesthetically pleasing. I know I say that all the time, but we literally are behind the glass.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like we're on display. And it was kind of cool because I had to jump down and grab something from my car during the last opening. And I looked back up and you could see like people just enjoying themselves up there. And you're like, I knew what was going on, but if I didn't know, I'd be like, I wonder what's happening up there. And we have a little pennant that we've put up done by our friends at Golden Supply, and you could see it from the street, which I thought was kind of cool too. So just that, yeah.
And it looks great in there too, because that's that whole vibe of being downtown in the city.
Mm-hmm.
We've always been downtown.
Yeah.
But now when you're there, you're feeling it, you can see it. And that energy is contagious. You can feel it the whole time you're there.
For sure. And a lot of good conversations, a lot of good folks kind of coming and going and enjoying the art. And, as we record this, we're gearing up for our last Friday at Golden Supply on the 24th of April. So that's going to be another exciting opening. And then right after that, first Friday again for May 1st. Very special first Friday, and we'll talk more about that obviously during that episode, but features students from Todd Stahl's Webster Thomas. So his students have been painting from images taken by myself and Richard Colon. And so it's really cool, like scenes of Rochester. And again, if you know Richard and I's work, it's not the touristy parts, or it's not the landmark. So it's a really cool show for students. And when we talk about really pushing towards that emerging artist, or folks that maybe have not shown as many times, these are ninth graders, which is wild when you see their work up close and the work that they were able to do. So really excited about that.
Rob, that's got to be really cool to see that next generation coming out and respecting the work of people coming before.
Absolutely. Especially nowadays where, everybody wants to be a content creator. It's good to see some kids dabbling in the arts in that way. So I'm really looking forward to that show.
And when we talk about expanding space, and Rob's here, he just is coming off of a coffee party.
Coffee Party Rock.
Yeah. So a third space where we're helping curate.
Yeah.
So
that's at AMFM Coffee right now. We just had the second edition of Coffee Party Rock yesterday.
Woo-hoo.
And we're showcasing Nova's work in there. He's got about
15, 6, no. We lost count. We were hanging them for a while. Some really cool. It's
like 20 some pieces.
Yeah, it's a really cool setup, and I think it was a vibe with what they were doing with coffee, but also at AMFM for the entire month. And we've got two more collabs with them coming up. Yeah. And then another collab that I'm not going to talk about here, but something really exciting.
We are expanding the brand.
See, this is
Rob
exciting.
Likes to call, and he's wearing the USA basketball jersey. It's like we're talking, Bulls in '90s.
Yeah.
So that's how we feel.
It's our '90s run right now.
Yeah.
No, and it's super exciting because I know all the work that's gone into this for everybody too. Like this isn't an accident.
Yeah.
and having the new energy from Rob, and I'm always loving to contribute to feeling where this is all going, and it's building on what we've all said for a long time. We're building this community. This
Community
isn't
over
just
competition.
this isn't just showing. This is building this whole group of people that now have this beautiful network
Yeah.
of people that they can talk to, that they can rely on. And that means a lot to a lot of the people that have been involved from the beginning and throughout. So,
Absolutely.
congrats on the expansion, and, excited to see the next spaces too. So this is really cool.
For sure.
So as we transition, we just want to throw out a lot of those great things coming up, and each of them will have their own podcasts and kind of deeper, as well as the Substack that we've been really pushing in terms of additional content.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
but-
follow on Instagram and everywhere else just to keep
Yeah.
attention on the stuff coming up, because there's a lot changing
a
all the
lot.
time.
A lot.
Yeah, it was like, I think it was like 4 posts in 5 days. People were like, what's
So
going
good.
on? Wait, you doing another? Wait, which one is this? What's
Yeah.
going on? So we're really excited, and like you said, it's really that community over competition, and how can we continue to give folks the opportunity to show their work and show their work in traditional and untraditional spaces. So it's really exciting for us, and exciting for us is to be joined by our April featured artist, and we'll kick over to Brian first. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, and just we'll start with yourself, and then we'll talk about your journey to photography.
Oh, myself. Let's see.
Such a loaded question.
It
It
is.
really is.
And also the meaning of life.
Oh, so I feel like I could probably answer that better than talk about myself. So I am a coffee professional.
Mhm.
Been in the coffee industry for a little over a decade now on the tech side. I've been a repairman. So I work for a company called Whole Latte Love. Sure, a lot of people have heard of that one. One of the cool things about coming to a lot of these shows is the amount of people in the coffee community, like Ty, just all these people that you run into is like, hey, I know you. And it's, so I'm a family man. Got my son here peeking in, watching us do this because he wants to be a YouTuber someday. Mom's at home.
That wasn't a dig at being a content creator.
No, it wasn't a dig.
No, that's great.
So that's
No.
something good to strive
It's-
for.
yeah,
so.
absolutely.
Soon to be producing on Lunchador.
I need the help.
Not a lot to say. I don't think.
What's your go-to coffee drink? As we'll like pivot here to becoming a coffee podcast as well.
Shout out
good.
to Dialed In, our coffee show with Wade
Yeah,
Reed and Aaron
sure.
Piscucci.
All right.
Ooh.
Two people I've known for a long time too.
Yeah.
Go-to coffee, black coffee, or just shots of espresso.
Yeah,
See,
shots
all
of
this
espresso.
tracks. The fact that he doesn't want to talk about himself, the fact that he drinks black coffee, I drink black coffee too.
He's a man after my own heart with those two drinks.
Very understated. I remember when I was working on the article for the Substack, and like most of the questions you put out there is like, what's the story behind your art? Why do you do this? And it was like, there's no story. There's it's kind of like, this is my own curiosity that I'm going after. So it all tracks for you.
Yeah, and it definitely feel that. And it's funny that Rob says that because it's the quiet moments, and I
Yeah.
think that was one of the things that you had talked about in that article. And your photos are these quiet, dark moments. Like, what brought you to photography, and then kind of what took you down that path?
So, photography started off. I don't even know, it's 20 years ago or something like that. I got my first digital camera.
And for folks thinking 20 years ago,
like the
that's
90s or so.
2006.
Yeah, right. Stop aging me. Stop aging me.
Don't remind us.
Yeah,
Roger.
I mean,
Jesus.
I remember my old Kodak camera with 110 film,
Oh man,
little
good
like
times.
spyglass ones. Yeah,
Wow.
those. But I got into photography when I was doing solo hiking, go up to the Adirondacks and stuff. And I used to do a lot of landscape, and I got bored of it somehow, and I just fell out of it, and I stopped shooting for a really long time. Started dabbling in it here and there over the years, but really what kind of drove me hard back into it was just to go deep onto myself. So I was in a car accident several years ago, and I had to make some big life changes after that, and kind of slowing myself down. And somehow that just naturally gravitated towards photography. So I just found myself wandering in the neighborhood, taking shots. And then because of work, family life, and everything like that, starts being more towards nighttime. And I was like,
Mhm.
what am I going to do? I can't shoot at night, like, right? Shooting on a Canon T7. Well, APS-C sensor does not do that great in the dark. What my son shoots on now, though, he's learning from where I came from. So I basically, it was one evening. It was just turning dark out, walking down University Ave, and sun just set, and I start noticing these different shadows and everything. And I notice, the people leaving, and everything's just quiet and dark. And something about that just kind of clicked for me. I liked the feel of it, so I just kept leaning into it. And now that's my preferred. Like, I feel like I don't know what I'm doing when I go out in the day and shoot.
Mhm.
So
I kind of did want to take a step back because you mentioned going through that accident and that it forced you to slow down. How, like, that had to be jarring, right? Like, as I know, as somebody, I like to do lots of things all the time. Like, that had to be a bit of a jarring thing
yes,
to have to like rebuild in a different way.
yeah, absolutely. I got a lot of I had a traumatic brain injury basically, and when I was in the hospital, I found out that I actually have a neurological condition that uh, isn't very well known. There's not a lot of cases of it, so it's not something that they can give me clear guidance on. So they're like, "Oh, you just can't like push yourself, no like deadlifting and things like that." But so now every time I go, just the other night when I was going up the parking garages and I'm going up like 8 flights of stairs and I'm starting to get like getting up to the top and I start getting like kind of swimmy feeling in the head and it's like, oh no, I gotta slow down. I don't think it's actually anything. I think I'm just in my own head, but it's a lot of that. It's like, I used to be a lot more active. We love climbing mountains and stuff,
Yeah.
and now I always have that in my head, like, what's too much, what's going to push me over the edge and going to be a bad situation for me and for my family. So I found that just slowly walking the streets during the night, it's a lot more relaxed and it's better headspace.
Yeah. But also lets you reflect on all that stuff too.
Exactly.
Reflect on what matters. And sometimes you're taking pictures of things that matter to you.
Exactly.
What do you shoot on now that is better for nighttime photography?
I'm on a Sony A7 III.
Shout out to
Yeah,
Sony.
I could see. You started saying Sony, and I could see Rob's eyes. It was like love language.
Yeah.
I'm
part of the Sony cult for sure.
All right. I was walking down the street with Nick on Friday, and some guy was driving by, and he saw us walking down the street with cameras, and he was like, "Hey, what are you guys shooting? What are you shooting?" Nick's like, "Oh, Fuji." I was like, "Oh, Sony." He's like, "Yeah, Sony."
Once
You
you go
can tell.
Sony, you never go
You
back.
tell we're
Right.
in a photo town, and someone's like yelling, "What are you shooting down
Yeah.
the street?"
Fist pumping, right?
Like, what are you doing? What do you find, like, when you think about the it was interesting to hear you talk about the landscape stuff that you were doing when you reached the top of a mountain, and then talking through that story of reaching the top of a parking garage, and now you're taking a different type of landscape, the urban landscape. It, when you started taking those photos, like, how did they make you feel? Did it take you back to the time when you were out in nature taking those shots?
So I think when it really took me back was when I got a 85 millimeter lens. Now that's kind of a weird lens to choose when you're used to cityscape, right? Like just this big wide angles, and then all of a sudden you're super close and everything. So I remember the first like 2 nights I was questioning my life decisions after buying that lens. And then I got home and was reviewing some of the shots I got and just seeing those details. And that really took me back to when I was out hiking, because a lot of the times the shots that I was taking weren't the broad landscapes. It was more of the details,
Mhm.
like the nooks and crannies of waterfalls, the wild root systems that you see on the edge of a cliff, things like that. So I definitely see a lot of what captured me in nature, capturing me in the architectural.
Well, that 85, because I remember the first time I shot on the 85 lens, it does take it. You get taken aback a little bit. It's just like, wow, like this is a perspective that the eye can't replicate,
Right,
Mm.
right.
and it's just like it makes you want to look at the details of everything. So I just wonder how that plays into you having to slow down and working hand to hand with, okay, I got to slow down my lifestyle a little bit and focus on the details of things. Is it correlation?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say it's like the movies where you get that like bionic eye and you see things far away and all of a sudden it super snap zooms in.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what it's like when you're out shooting. Like you'll see a cool building, right? Like the Powers building. We've all seen it from down the street or right in front of it, and it looks really cool
Yeah.
in and of itself. When you can get up higher and into some more of the shadows, and especially at night, that's I took some of my favorite shots are of that building. I mean, there's so many shots. I'll on a slow night, I'm like 150 shots, and that's if I'm like just out hanging out with people. On one of my normal solo Friday night walks, I'll walk away with almost 2,000 shots. So
Wow.
even though I post on Instagram every single day, people don't see probably a fraction of what I
Mhm.
actually shoot.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, it's interesting when and the one thing that I've always gravitated to about your work was you're instead of those broad shots, you're bringing us into like these funky little corners and how the building, especially downtown, where those buildings are layered in such a fun, dynamic way. Or you're shooting from a rooftop and there's a guy like loading the back of a truck. Like these moments that people may not see or not even think about. You're now focused on that entirely instead of the broader picture. Like was that just a thing, or did that like was that intentional in some way, or is it just your curiosity for
I think it's a lot of just the curiosity. I think back to way back in high school, right? We would kind of explore around, go in alleys and things like that. I was talking to I forget who I was talking to somebody the other day talking about urban exploring, right? Like we would go down to the old subway. That was a
Mhm.
very common thing we did back then. One of the things that we used to do was rooftoping. And rooftoping, if you don't know what it is literally you just wander around and find a fire escape and try to get up on it and get up on the top of the building.
Mhm.
So I think that doing the parking garage and stuff like that, because obviously I'm a little bit older now, I got to try to respect some of the laws. So try to limit the amount of trespassing I do a little bit. This isn't being aired or anything, right?
You say allegedly.
Only
Allegedly,
live.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're dropping the allegedly. You're
Yeah.
good to go. So, Brian, tell us about the pieces that you chose for Behind the Glass for this month. And you just said I take about 2,000 pictures when you're out on a solo walk, and you've got six spots to really
Oh,
dial in
God.
on.
Yeah, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago too.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's a great way to beat yourself up being in a show. I remember getting about 40 or 50 pictures into a specific folder in Lightroom and saying, all right, these are the ones I really like, and this is well called down from there. So I build that folder and I go into that folder and I'm like, this is all trash. I don't like any of this. What was I thinking? What am I doing? I've done it before. I've been in a couple shows before,
Yeah.
so used to beating myself up. But the what got me to do those specific shots, a lot of it was just kind of my family and my friends, like the ones that I knew that they liked, and then I just wanted to do kind of a mix of some of my older stuff, some of my newer stuff, anything that was older. The insufficient fund shot. That one was it's old ATM
Mhm.
or teller window downtown in LA, right next to the Powers building. Aaron Pascucci, that was actually on a photo walk that I did with him that night that I took that shot, and that was about 2 years ago. That one was I actually just did a fresh edit of it. My style of editing has changed, so that kind of just a camaraderie thing drove me to that one. I wanted to put that one up. The shot of the Powers building, that was my son Jake's favorite, so I had to choose that one. The little theater shot, that one is my wife's favorite shot, so picked that one. And I can't tell you what drove me to the rest of them. It was just sure, that'll work.
It is this weird thing that happens when you preparing for a show where it's like, well, I know this is the first time some people are gonna see my work,
Mhm.
but then I also want to like try some stuff, but then I also want to like represent. It's like all these different, at least for me, I'll speak for
Mhm.
myself. There's all
Mhm.
these different conflicting uh aspects that come into it. And like you said, you put a folder together, and then all of a sudden, it's like nothing I ever shot ever is good.
Yeah.
Like I suck. I don't like any of this stuff.
That to me, that's the hardest part of like I've heard other artists talk about like the themes that they went with and everything, and I think that makes it so much harder.
Mm.
Like if I wanted to pick a specific theme to use other than nighttime and deep shadows, like that'd be easy because that's most of my work. But anything beyond that is like I don't know, because like with answering the questionnaire, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't go out with a specific story in mind or anything, so it's hard to use that as a driving factor to what I'm going to present.
I think that's the beauty too. And we've talked about it on the podcast a million times. When you're searching for the shot, you never find it.
Mm.
But when you let the shot come to you, those are the most magical moments, right? It's the same with
Absolutely.
the theme. Like you'll have a through line through all of your work with it being unintentional, as opposed to like you're trying to force into the shoe hole. I'm going to go out tonight. You may go out and say, tonight I'm going to take pictures of rooftops. But then when you're out, you start to see alleys that look a lot cooler than the rooftops. Like I can see that changing, but when people are like, I'm going to go out and I'm going to take the shot tonight, the shot. And then you're like, you're just in your head the entire time. And instead of 2,000 shots, you've taken 20,000 shots, and they're not what the shot you were looking for. Where I think it kind of comes to you, which is a little more magical, if you will.
Yeah. And then you remember your card would light on fire.
Yeah.
I think that's when
Yeah.
it happens, right? When
Yeah.
you get to 20,000 shots
Yeah.
in a day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your memory card just spontaneously ignites.
It just
Well,
quits.
that's why I got
Quiet
dual
quitting.
cards. You don't got to worry about that.
Yeah. That's awesome.
It's a lot of shots to go through an edit, man.
It is. I created my own like little personal presets that I use to just kind of get me started. Like if you were ever to look at my initial call, everything is super underexposed. Obviously, it's nighttime, but like I could even compensate in camera more. But what I found was when I'm recovering from that darkness, it brings out more of what I liked in my editing style. And I had a name that I called my style of editing. It was recovering the lost, I think was what I was calling it. But that's really, it kind of suited me as a person, as a photographer, and just the style of what I was going for too.
And you said you were in other shows.
Yes, with my first show that I ever did was at Union Place Coffee Roasters out in Henrietta. I went huge on that one.
Yeah, I remember.
did
Yep.
some really large prints for that. And then my second show, I was right at the end of the year. Last year, I was at AMFM.
Yep, I remember both of those. And I know we had talked, probably more than a year ago now, and about getting you in. And once we got you in, was really excited to have you a part of Behind the Glass, and was excited to see your friends and family come out and enjoy as well. So thank you for.
I was, no, thank you. I mean, I was, I can't say this enough. Like, I mean, you guys are the first gallery that I went, not the first gallery I ever went to, but once I started getting really into the community, into shooting, associating myself as being a photographer, you guys are where I found a home. You're where I started connecting with people that, I felt like I actually could bond with. A lot of the people that the regular people I talk to, right? Like Nick, Rock Street Photo, Just Joe, Dakota there, everyone. So like all the people that I regularly speak to, I met through you guys.
That's awesome.
Congrats, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
Community for sure.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you.
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna pivot over here.
Oh man. Oh man.
Do you prefer to be called Ty?
Whatever's easiest. People always butcher Tatiana. They always
Tatiana.
say Tatiana.
Tatiana.
Yeah,
Thank you.
perfect.
My
For
first
letting
name
me
is
know.
Quadre, so
Oh man, listen, my mom cannot get your name right
It's
to
fine.
save her life.
yeah, your mom is great though.
I
Thank
heard your
you.
mom was buying shots
What?
at the first
yeah,
reception.
there was a
Oh man.
tequila, right?
Oh, with a slice of orange or something. like
Yeah,
that,
with
y'all.
the brown sugar.
Yup.
We were
sounds
calling it
about
the
right.
behind the glass drink.
Oh, I love that.
because
I didn't know
people kept
that.
going down. They were like, "We're gonna go get the behind the glass," and Eddie at the bar knew, and so they were going down. Yeah,
Stop.
your mom had a thing going.
She
Shout
was
out,
on it.
mama.
I missed it. So.
Shout out,
Yeah.
mama.
But
That's
she,
her.
she came and bought your work
She did.
to the gallery to be hung.
She did.
And she was, I looked out and I didn't know it was your mom until I saw someone get out with like all of these photos. I was like, oh, that must be her mom. And she came up and was like, I've not seen these. Is it okay if we open it so I can look at the photos? And so it was like this, we've had a lot of parents, we've had a lot of grandparents, we've had a lot of spouses, brothers, sisters, people that have come to the space. And for some of them, this is the first time they've seen their work up on the wall. I know
Mm.
you've had your work out there before, but it's something so cool about having a conversation with someone about the work. And I mean, she was like me and Brian are hanging his pieces up, and she's like trying to like rip like, let's get this open. I want to go. It's like it was so cool to kind of see that pride. And as we started opening up some of the photos, she was like, oh, this was Boston. This was this. The one that made me laugh though, and it's the photo that is kind of your I wouldn't say your signature photo, but the photo that has been shown probably the most is your feet in the window. And your mom says, whose feet are these?
No, she did
I
not.
kid you
No,
not.
she
Brian,
did
right?
not.
That was there.
Yep.
And I was like, I think
think
it's
they're
her
yours.
feet. And if it's not, that's a really cool shot.
That's
so
fantastic.
for all of the pride your mom had, she was like, I've never seen her wear Converse before. These can't be her feet.
Yeah, I mean, I rarely wear Converse, so
so it
she's
was
right
great.
about that. And I don't think I posted that shot. I don't think I've ever posted
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
So
it was really funny to
Well,
me.
you talked a little bit about the story behind that
Mhm.
and how can you get into that a little bit, because I thought that was a really cool story.
Yeah, so I had taken a break.
From
I was
work.
I was at work, the current job, and that was the time. I come from corporate America, and I have done over like 10 years of that, more specifically on like the hospital healthcare side of things. And I thought it was a jump that I had taken for the better, and it actually was a lot closer tied to the hospital than I thought it would be. So I was stressed out because I was like, this is not what I thought it was going to be. I go outside, I take a break, and I'm just like, I constantly remind myself, like, this is for a reason. This is a stepping stone in the direction or in the path, on the path that's meant for you. I had just started learning how to just surrender to the natural flow of things too. So I was like, you know what? I had gotten my emotions out. I had cried a little bit, dropped a couple F-bombs. I was like, this don't feel good. I vented to a couple people. And then finally I was just like, you know what? We're just trusting the process. And I literally I'm like, I'm not letting this phase me. Something bigger and better is coming. I just put my feet up and I was like, oh, this is a shot. I'm like, this feels exactly how I feel inside.
Wow.
And yeah, long-winded, but yeah.
I just love that story behind that because it's so personal, so intentional, and you can feel it.
Mm.
You can feel the intention.
Thanks.
Even before I heard the story, you could feel the intention.
There's
behind that
something
shot.
magical about that
Yeah.
photo.
That's so wild. 'Cause in my mind, I'm just like, this is just another picture that people are going to see of like some Converse. And like, I never thought that it would hit as
Yeah.
hard as it hit. And so to hear that feedback is really,
I mean, I think
dope.
and Rob could probably share too. There are photos that we've all taken, and Brian and really anyone in the gallery. The photo may mean one thing to you,
Yeah.
but then has like this much
Mm.
deeper meaning to
Mm.
someone else, and you're like, that's not what I was thinking about at all.
Mhm.
Like it was the moment that I thought it was a cool frame, or I just wanted to capture this thing, but then to also hear your emotion and what led to that. also brings people to a different space where they're like, yeah, I've had that moment where I went out to my car from work, or I've had that moment where, I used to do it. I used to call it taking a lap, right?
Mm.
And so if I felt a certain way about what was going on, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna take a lap. And I
Mm.
would take a lap in or outside of the building, away from the work. I'd turn my phone off and come back and, the
Yeah.
same thing, maybe drop a couple F bombs on the way, and then come back refreshed,
Mhm.
and say, all right, this is part of a deeper thing going on.
And it's
So,
it's almost like
Mhm.
once you decided to surrender in that moment, you got a gift back
Mm.
and that awareness of, oh, this is a dope shot. And
Mhm.
then that shot turns into something that is, signature part of your portfolio, I'm guessing at
Mhm.
this point. But you took it with your phone, right?
I take
All
all
your
my
Yes.
pictures
photographies with your
with
phone.
and
my
that's the
phone.
magic I loved. So,
Yeah.
obviously we just geeked out for a second.
You did. And I was like, I don't know what any of this
Listen,
means.
I don't either. I'm gonna be 100% with you. When someone asks me, "Oh, did you use a filter for this?" I'm like, "A filter for what?" They're like, "On your camera." I'm like, "I just took the picture." "Oh, what was your white balance?" Just,
I hate
uh,
talking about that part of photography. I really
but
do.
that it's but I understand why people do what they do, and I've had Canons forever because that's what I grew up and learned on. But I
Mhm.
also recognize the magic of a Sony. I
Mm.
recognize the magic of a Fuji, like all these cameras that have certain purposes. Like
Yeah.
me and Night Shots don't get along because like they I can't get what I want, but I know Sony users
Mm.
can dial in, and it's almost made for that
Yeah.
high ISO to geek out a little bit more. But when we were talking about your photos, because I knew they were taken with a cell phone,
I did
right?
not.
And people were talking about them, and I was like, "Hey, just so you know, like these are cell phone photos." And they're like, "Whoa, this is," and it kind of changes the vibe. And I often use the example of there was a point where I did a lot of talking in schools, like
Mm.
talking to students about photography, talking about all this stuff, and all of the kids would start to talk about, um, what, well, sir, Mister, what kind of camera do you use? And I said, this is the camera I use, but I recognize there's a privilege in owning a camera,
Mm.
having the funds to do it.
Mhm.
Most of my photos are taken with my cell phone, everyday photos, with your, family, something that you may see at a traffic light, something, right? And they're like, but you have a camera and you've done all this stuff. And then I lean in as if I'm whispering and telling a secret. I would say, one of the photos that most people have seen of mine that hung at the Memorial Art Gallery was taken with a cell phone.
Oh,
And it hung in a gallery.
that's so beautiful.
And the reason why I was taken with a cell phone is because I did not want to leave the conversation that I was in to go and grab my camera
Mhm.
to take a photo. But I had
Mhm.
my phone in my hand and I just snapped one shot of this moment. Um, and end up becoming like it was in magazines, it was in the gallery.
Mm.
And so I tell students that all the time, as I told people that night, like these are everyday moments. And I think that's the coolness about your work.
Thank
So how
you.
did you like tell us a little bit of your story? Is that
Whew.
as hard as me asking Brian and
Whew.
then loading it
Yeah.
in with the
There's really not much to it. I mean, I've been taking pictures. I used to take pictures on like prepaid phones too. And yeah.
got the burners.
And um and I remember my first camera, like my parents would buy me like the little cheap cameras and stuff. I can't even remember what they were, what kind they were. But I've just always been into it. I've just always been into expressing myself that way. I really don't like using my voice
Mm.
much.
Mhm.
I fumble over my words and my brain starts to scramble. So taking pictures was always my way of communication, my way of communicating what I was feeling or how I see the world. Or it's I think I said like in the Substack, it's the way that I felt most seen and most heard.
Mhm. So it's
But
less about what you see and more about how you feel.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Everything I take, up until like the shots that I chose for the show, everything had to be like based on a feeling, like something that made me go, okay, passion. Passion is the biggest thing for me. Like, however you interpret that, if I feel passionate about it, I'm gonna do it. And I didn't always trust that. And photography helped me trust that passion. And again, helped me find my voice too. Throughout like growing up and stuff like that, my family would tell me like, you have such an eye, you have to do something with it. Up until now, people would be like, why aren't you a photographer? Like, because I feel like right now the the term photographer is such a there's a stigma behind it of like you got to be 1,000% professional.
Mhm.
You have to have a business. You have to have
Yeah.
certain certifications and stuff like that.
It's loaded.
So
Yeah,
loaded.
yeah.
And
Mhm.
for the longest, it's the reason why I didn't even consider myself a photographer. I
How
was like,
many,
I'm not a
how
photographer.
many times have we heard that on this
Yeah,
podcast?
welcome
No, it's
welcome to Behind the
real.
Glass
Oh,
Gallery.
it's so
I do
real.
not feel like a photographer.
No, it's so real. Or an artist.
Hi, my name
Yeah.
is Ty. I'm a recovering photographer.
Literally. No, literally. Yeah. No, So they would, I mean, up until now, they always say that, like, you got to do something with this. And I'm like, no, like, I just want to be. I just want to have fun. It's a hobby. I don't know. And I could never see myself monetizing off of that. It was this gallery that made me realize, because people are like, all right, well, how much are you going to charge? I was in my very first gallery for Hispanic Heritage Month.
City Hall, right?
City Hall. Yep.
The Link Gallery.
The Link Gallery. First time I ever printed my work.
Wow.
Besides like canvas, because I would gift people as I was younger, like canvas, photos on canvas, whatever. But that was the first time I had seen my work printed, and someone came up to me and said, "How much do you want for that?" And I was like, I don't want anything. Like, what do you mean? How much? I don't want nothing. You want it? Take it. But where was I going with that? See, that starts to buffer. I
start to buffer.
Yeah,
That's great.
legit.
I love that. Yes.
I realized that the only way that I could see myself monetizing is if it was like in some big like art gallery or something like
Yeah.
that. But besides that, like my intention is not to sell my work. If it speaks to you, great, it's yours. It's as simple as that.
It definitely changes it when, and it's similarly, I've always said that about photography too,
Mhm.
because so many of the things that I do with creating, I have to monetize to make a living, right?
Yeah,
And
for sure.
photography always felt like this special thing where if I could just keep this for me,
Mhm.
then that would be great. I've never wanted to take gigs or
Yeah.
promote myself as somebody, like book me, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I do think it changes it sometimes when it's for the money.
For sure. 1,000%. You hear that all the time.
Yeah.
My mom actually, she was prime example. And I live with this in my head. She did hair when she was younger. And then she started getting family that would come in and expecting it for free. And she lost, like, she was genuinely passionate about it. And because she did it professionally, she lost that passion. She lost it. And I'm like, I don't know. I feel like that's definitely around, and it happens a lot.
I think it puts questions of worth to the forefront, right? Because
That
it's
part.
just like you said, like, well, how much do you want for this? And then all of a sudden you have to ask yourself, well, how much is it worth? How much am I worth?
Price on that.
And that's uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, I didn't do this for that. I did
Yeah.
it because, like you said, it's what I was feeling. So
Yeah.
I think it is a tough thing for a lot of people to
Mm-hmm.
transition to okay, now I'm going to charge for this, or like
For sure.
put a price on it, so to speak.
For sure.
Especially when you see it as your passion project.
Yeah.
How much is your passion worth?
Yeah.
Yeah. What?
Like,
Whoa.
and it's
Oh.
not, it's
Oh
it's
my
really,
God.
and that's the honest thing, right? Because like a lot of us are doing these things as our release, our passion project. Like, this is my passion project, the
Mhm.
podcast thing. Having that in my life has made it immeasurably better.
Mm.
And yes, obviously we're trying to, get money to the shows and everything else. But if I had to quit my day job and do that,
Mm.
it wouldn't feel the same,
Mhm.
because we can do it the way we want to do it. We can do it with the passion we want to do it with.
Mhm.
And it's really hard because, yes, talent is one thing and enjoying it's another. But the monetization and that loaded
Mhm.
question of how much is your passion worth? How much is your art worth?
Mhm.
Instead of just taking something because, you know what, man, it felt like the right moment.
Yeah.
And that matters to you.
Yeah. This isn't a business. This is a passion.
So something I want to ask. I
Mhm.
remember when that campaign that the iPhone was doing they would put it on billboards. It'd be a great photo. They'd be like, shot on the iPhone. I'd be
Mhm.
like, bullshit.
That's so good. No, for
Right.
real.
That's but it made me think that looking at your work, I was having a conversation with somebody at the opening that night, and I told them, oh, that's all shot on a cell phone. They were like, what kind of cell phone? They were like, what do they have rigged up to it? Like, not the iPhone I got.
Dang, I should have put that.
Do you,
Shot by
is there
iPhone.
something? Do you tweak settings of your
For
phone?
sure,
Do
yeah.
you do something to get the look in your cell phone?
I find that I love like I love warmth.
Okay.
Like the warm look. So like I'll mess with lighting. Very rarely do I mess with definition. I just learned like this past year how to mess with like the shadow with the iPhone. Like when you click on the screen, the little shadow bar, the light bar where you can make it brighter or darker. I just learned how to mess with
This
that.
is
And
before you shoot, not the after.
no, this is before I shoot. Yeah,
Before,
this
okay.
is so the shadow thing, the lighting, messing with the lighting specifically, that's like before I take the shot.
Okay.
And then after that, if I want to bring some warmth out or like definition or something like that, if I want to take highlights away, then I'll do that. But I think the biggest thing for me is playing with light, honestly, light and shadows. Mm-hmm.
But no extra lenses. None of that stuff.
No. What's crazy is when I was younger, they had these clip-on
Yeah, I remember
lenses.
those.
Oh my
I remember
gosh.
those.
I had those. Those were a time. I'm actually considering getting those back. I don't know what
I
happened to
remember I
them.
had a
cheap
fisheye
ones,
one.
though.
That was
Yeah, the
yeah.
fisheye.
So good.
The fisheye. That's
So
exactly the
good.
one.
And I would just
had.
like jam it in the middle of a circle. And people were like,
Yes.
yeah, you got the fisheye.
Yup.
But I never had like the official one. I got
Right.
like the ones that were like cheap.
I had the
So
one
if you
from
bumped
Walmart.
it, yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And
Yup.
that was the end of that. You spent $5, got another one for $5 below, no problem. So,
Spelled FYSH-I.
Yeah.
Just the letter.
But
Literally.
Real Walmart bargain basement stuff.
yeah, no problem. I got
So
it.
wholesome.
Team
your
movie.
composition and your framing with the phone, I think, is really impressive because I can never achieve that with my phone.
Mm.
Like Kwaje said, like there are times when I'm like, I'm not digging in my bag to get the camera because I'm gonna lose the moment or the feeling. I'm gonna just take
For
this with my
sure.
phone.
Mhm.
Very rarely do I like those photos though, because I like having the control of the frame with my actual camera.
Okay. Yeah.
So I really admire what you do with your phone because I
Thank
think that
you.
you achieve a composition that would take me forever with my phone.
I got nothing. Thank you. Thank you.
What's
Wow.
funny is I think one of the photos that I took at your opening, Rob, of you and the family was
Yeah.
on my phone.
You're good with your
Yeah,
phone too, though.
Yeah. And I like just jammed it
Yeah.
in. And so
Yeah.
the kids didn't get distracted by like, oh, this guy's got a big camera, which I
Yeah.
think is cool for
part
the
of it,
phones
too.
too, because
Yeah.
When Brian's talking about an 85 millimeter, depending on what kind of 85 that is, it could be that long, it could be that it could be a lot of different looks, and people are like, oh man, that guy's taking a photo. But when you like jam in your cell phone, people are like,
Eh.
yeah, whatever. That
Remember
guy.
that
Yep.
telescope I used to have when I shot for the
Yeah,
DNC?
man.
Oh my god, I used to hate walking around.
I
with
got
that
a
damn
couple
thing.
pictures of you with that. I walked down. I'm like, oh, look at Rob over there with that.
It's like what they use
yeah.
on
I love
Artemis
it.
2.
Yeah.
That thing's about this
I
fucking
love
big.
it. I love it.
So let's talk about your opening. So
Mhm.
obviously you were not feeling well for the original First Friday, and so we were kind of bummed about that. But we were able to, or you were able to, you did all of the heavy lifting, were able to pivot and do a second. I don't even know which Friday it was. Third Friday, second, third. So
Yeah,
it's
third
Okay.
past Friday you did a nice opening, and looking through those photos, like people came out to show you love. What did that like? How did that feel for you? Especially, as you talk through the imposter syndrome of being a photographer, seeing
Mhm.
your work printed, and that was the first time you had seen what we hung
Yeah.
outside of the video that maybe me and your mom sent to say,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
how your show looks. Is this cool, kind of thing? And you gave me freedom to. You're like, yeah, just hang it however you want to.
Yeah. Oh, shout out everyone that came. Oh, yeah. It leaves me at a loss of words. I didn't expect 3 people, 2 people. That's it. That's good for me. That's good enough for me. But the amount of people that came and showed love, I mean, a big part of that is because of you guys too, right? So thank you so much for all you guys do and for the space that you create. It's so naturally inviting and just aligned and whatever. But yeah, it was, I'm trying not to cry. I feel it. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was genuine. People really felt me. And that's the thing about not being there for the first Friday. I had to really sit down because mentally I was not well. Physically I wasn't well, but mentally I'm like, dang, I'm really gonna miss this. Like I was bummed. And I tend to try and find the bigger picture in things because there's always a bigger picture, there's always a bigger message. I was like, all right, well, what's the bigger message here? And I realized, well, the whole point of this is to be felt. So even though I wasn't seen, I know I was still felt through my images. But yeah, I mean, to long-winded to answer your question, it was great. It was so great to just share and bask. I'm a big let's break bread at the table kind of person, especially for those moments or any moments, birthdays, whatever, you name it. So that was a form of breaking bread. That was a form of paying homage to the people who honestly make me me. Yeah, and who are a part of this person that I'm becoming.
It's worth taking that second to feel it.
Yeah.
And everything goes so fast
Yeah.
with life and everything else. And when you have that opportunity and to not just feel it for yourself, but to feel it for everybody else who gave you, who set you up.
Mm.
You know, I think we all don't take enough of those opportunities. And I'm
Mhm.
really glad you got to feel that with the people that helped you get there.
Thank you. I'm a firm believer in we're all reflections of each other too. So like to see who came and to see them say, "Oh my God, this piece is beautiful. It moved me." I'm like, well, I'm a big the beauty you see in me is the beauty in you, right? Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. So like to see that and to bask in that, there's honestly that's the whole point for me. There's nothing else to it.
I just one additional question,
Mhm.
maybe two. I don't know where this is going to go, but I
Oh
know
no, go.
Chris is giving me the look. The producer look. That's why I'm kind of pivoting towards not like this. I got my worst blinders on. So when kind of similar to Brian, like I asked you about Behind the Glass during another opening. Like you had walked
Mhm.
into Fuego. Me and Richard had been talking about you earlier that
Crazy.
day. And I was like, oh, he was like, I'll kick off a group text and we'll get it all squared away. You walked in and I'm like, hey, Behind the Glass, are you in? Yes or no? And I think that was like we had met, but like never, like, I think it was just, Uncle
Mhm.
Marble,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Fuego, like,
Yep,
I
for
got,
here.
yeah, right. Yeah. For
Yeah.
here to go. That was kind of
Yep.
like, how did that feel for you to, kind of push you even further? Your family's telling you this. Now here's this person who's more or less a stranger saying, we
Mhm.
want to have you in the gallery.
Well, the first question that comes up is why me? Right? That's a big thing. Why me? Right? But it was another I've had many opportunities now, or I've been presented with many opportunities that are like, all right, let's test. You like this, or this is your passion, or you're willing to pursue your passion. All right, cool. Let's see how willing you are. And I've been faced with a lot of those this past year, and I felt like this was another one where, because it's so easy for me to get in my head and overthink and like get overstimulated and then talk myself out of things.
Mhm.
I think about it too hard. If I think about it too hard, I'll think myself out of it. So that's the first thing that popped in my head when you asked. I was like, why me? And then I was like, just say yes. Just say yes. It's your passion. Say yes to your passions. You're in a season of saying yes to your passions. Do it. And I did it. And when I left, I was like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. Nope. I'm gonna find a reason to back out. I'm like, yup, nope. Yeah. But again, there was a bigger part of me that was like, no, you're being presented with this. Do it. Yeah.
I'll tell you, when we are, Rob, Richard, and I are really passionate about having someone in a gallery, we give them 2 no's. So you can say no twice for scheduling conflicts or something. And then the third time, we just put you on the flyer.
Oh my God.
So
Oh,
when
I'm
we're
glad I said
really,
yes.
just so you're aware,
Yeah.
we've done it many a time. It's worked out,
That's beautiful.
but we just say,
Beautiful,
listen,
though.
we believe in your work and we want to show it. And I think Brian and I talked about this at the opening. There's a lot of folks that are in the city, and it's almost impossible for us to highlight every single one. But
Mhm.
there is a feeling that we have in a moment. And we're like, this is the time.
Yeah.
And it just happened to be this weird coffee connection
Mm.
between you and Brian. It like happened to be a couple other things, but there are times where we our curation is we think these two people are great together, and we think this is a good month for them to show.
Yeah.
And when you talk about that feeling, Rob and I don't like being the face of we don't want people to like, yeah, you know who we are, but we're not walking around saying, hi, we're the curators of Behind Glass and blah, blah,
Mhm.
blah.
No,
Because we
no.
like to hear how people are feeling about what's going on in the space. Richard
Mhm.
was really great about being out front, right?
Yeah.
That's that's not who we are. So we still tell people Richard makes all the decisions.
Oh, I love that. I love it.
Yeah, he makes all the decisions remotely from Missouri.
Oh, I love
so if you
that.
have a concern, please email
Yeah,
Richard
please
Cologne.
do.
I love that. Felt I can relate.
So thank you so much.
Mhm.
So we're going to take a quick commercial break here. And then we're going to come back and we just want to hear, where can folks find you? And if you have something exciting coming up or maybe even words of wisdom and affirmation that you want to share with our listeners.
We'll be right back.
You guys are so good.
All right, just gonna count everybody in, and we'll dive into the finish. So starting in 3, 2, 1.
Oh, my God. I love it.
Hey Q, we're
Yes,
back.
yeah, I had my eyes closed. I was still trying to avoid eye contact with you just in case we ran over time. Out of habit. So yeah, we're back from a beautiful commercial break, both on air and off. And so we're just going to kick it over to Brian real quick. And it's where can folks find you? That are looking for you and your work and the amazing photos that you take.
So I am mostly on Instagram. It's at framed by Tucker,
Mhm.
_ for the spaces. I also have a website. I'm working on kind of doing a brand refresh on it, so it's a little hit or miss right now. But
I
I
feel like we
definitely
all have
suggest
a
checking out.
website that we're working on.
Yeah,
And we just keep paying for it.
I
Like,
gave
yeah,
up.
this is the
Yeah, I
year.
don't do
This is
websites
the
no
year.
more.
This is the
It
year.
is. It is. This is the year that I will get it updated to where I want it to be. Yeah, it's BrianTuckerPhotography.com website. I'm also on Facebook, Brian Tucker Photography, but I posted today for the first time in like 2 months, so
Good.
not the freshest content from there.
Awesome.
But yeah, other than that, you'll see me wandering around the streets at night on Friday nights.
Love it. And the follow-up question, because you've said yes a few times to different opportunities. If there is a listener out there right now that's like hesitant about saying yes, like what's your advice to pushing them over that hurdle?
Oh, geez. Just let go. Just do it. I mean, you spend your whole life being worried about what happens if you say yes, and that's just the wrong way of approaching everything. You cause more hurdles in life by saying no. Um, it's actually glad you asked that because it's a great segue for. I wanted to make sure that I said this today. Ty, I'm super glad that they chose you to be involved with this, to be in the show. There was something that happened recently at a photo walk where somebody was talked down upon for shooting a cell phone, and I hate that. I don't hate a lot of things, but I hate that. So the fact that you, as a photographer that uses a cell phone for your work, can show so many people and have them just be like, wait, what? That was taken with a cell phone? Like that I think is powerful beyond words, because that gives so many more people an opportunity to embrace the art.
Mm.
And I don't know. I don't know how to articulate it quite well, I guess, but that is a huge thing. Like there's so many things that block people from being artistic.
Mm.
And I don't think that the stigma of you should have this camera that costs a ton of money. Like if I sell my work, I don't like to charge a lot for my work. I like to sell enough that I can maintain justifying printing it, which I print mostly at home, and my lens addiction, basically. So beyond that, it's like, it's just for the joy of doing it.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, it just making it so that it's more approachable for people is super important. And that's why I love that you do this.
Thank you.
That's beautiful.
That is beautiful.
So I kick it over to you.
Man.
Where can folks find you?
Instagram. Come hang out with me on Instagram. It's nothing formal. Tatiana_Jordan. That's TYTIANA_J. Not Jordan _J.
I was like,
Yeah.
wait a minute. That's
Yeah,
not
my
your
bad.
Instagram.
That's not my Instagram at
I was
all.
like-
Tatiana_J. There we go.
I was like, that's
Mhm.
not it, but maybe
Yeah.
you're sending someone somewhere else.
No.
Why are there all
yeah.
these pictures of poodles?
This is what's going on here?
Yeah, that's it. And then I mean, this is the second of many. So yeah.
And I mean, I guess to Brian's point, if you show up somewhere and you pull out your cell phone and someone says that's not a real camera, how's that? How do you respond to that in a positive way?
To each his own. To each his own. Whatever works for you is what works for you. What works for me is what works for me. And that's it. It's as simple as that.
I love it.
Bro,
Yeah.
these phones cost
As
it's
much as
like
a
the-
cell phone,
yeah, it's
as
like
much
a
as a
used
much as a
car.
camera.
So
yeah.
like I don't understand that
As
at all.
much
when
as a
people say
cam-
that's not a real
much as a
camera.
camera.
My 17 Pro costs more than my A7 III.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, be for real.
I shoot with a Ricoh. It's a smaller camera, but it's probably a couple $100 less than my cell phone. So, yeah, okay.
And then to your point, what you said earlier, then we're gonna wrap up because I'm feeling the energy from him.
I can see it. I can feel it.
We're at
Stop it.
That's great.
To your point, Q, it's like, we all got access to that.
Mhm.
You know, we all have access to the phone. So it's just a tool waiting to be used.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Mhm.
Utilize what you got.
Speaking of utilizing what you got, check out all the other shows on the Lunchador Podcast Network. Go to lunchador.org. We've got a whole bunch of different shows for you to check out, including one by the mysterious Alo-Fi called
Yeah.
Plants and Beats. We just recorded an episode a little bit earlier today. Excited for the official launch on the Lunchador Podcast Network. Not that the camera just switched over to that person, but mysterious at the very least. And also
wearing
check
his
out,
mask.
I did a whole series of previews for the Pittsburgh Fringe Festival. It did just happen about a month or so ago, but I'm really proud of those. I got about a dozen, and really talking about the DIY side of creating the art you want to see, performance art in the way you want to do it. I love the Fringe stuff. It's my second time doing previews. Hope you check it out. You can check it out on Just Can't Not or Food About Town. I'm really proud of those interviews. So check those out. Check out lunchador.org, and we'll be back next time with more Behind the Glass.
This has been a presentation of the Lunchador Podcast Network.
All this talk about equipment. We didn't talk about microphones at all. What kind of audio professionals are you?